All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I will be speaking to you about IoPlus, which is a contact tracing solution for business. And this is really our first time talking about this application or service quite openly. The idea started a while back after we were in discussions with Mars Discovery District, where we realized that there is a great need for businesses to be able to do contact tracing. Obviously, with the COVID pandemic in phase 2 right now, the economy is dependent on businesses being open. And that's why our motto is that IoPlus means that you continue to protect your staff and clients while you keep your business open. And that's why we wanted to talk to you about it today. Thank you for being here. As we said, with this pandemic and with the number of cases keeps increasing, I think a lot of the questions are around what the government is doing about contact tracing and if the measures that are being taken are actually on point. I think obviously businesses want to remain open because that's their primary source of income when people actually visit the store. Not every single business is able to operate online, particularly restaurants, hairdressers, many other street-facing organizations. They do want a solution that enables them to simply remain open. And combined with the fact that the government across the world, and particularly in Canada and in Ontario, has implemented a specific measures in terms of employee screening, visitor tracking, and contact tracing. I think all of these requirements are causing businesses to kind of scrabble around and try to find paper-based solutions, or Excel sheet-based solutions, or even iPad-based solutions that are disparate. So the reason that we built this solution, or IoPlus, is because there was a need for an automated system that allows businesses to not only track but identify staff who've got certain risk indicators, and to report those to public health as in compliance with the public law. A little bit about me. Well, Hassan, I think some of you and most of you on this invite are actually either my LinkedIn contacts or through Facebook or through Twitter. So I don't want to spend too much time over here, but the idea is that, IoPlus is a not-for-profit initiative, the organization, and out of it is the IoPlus.ca, and that company or that entity is basically the operational arm of IoPlus.org. IoPlus right now is already on the WordPress store, and it's also available as a SaaS solution online on IoPlus.ca. All right, so I mean, a lot of you are going to have this question, which is, well, okay, great. How is this different from the federal application? And that's a really great question. At first, it's very important to note that the federal COVID app, it was set up for individuals. It was really an alerting mechanism that if you physically, as an individual, got in close proximity of somebody else who's got COVID, or has reported his or her case to have COVID, so you notify, right? We definitely support the federal application. It's a fantastic initiative. I think they did all the right things when it comes to privacy, security, and openness. It's an open source app. It uses the latest and the greatest technologies from BlackBerry and Apple. And we've got a lot of great things to say about the federal application. On the other hand, when we were designing our approach, we realized that there are some limitations for certain devices, right? And this is why we thought that having a mobile app may not be the solution, or it's not the right solution, for a couple of reasons. Is that, number one, there are issues around compatibility. Not every mobile phone supports the latest libraries that were released by either Android, Google, or BlackBerry/Apple, and at the same time, our goal is really to make sure the solution is open. Our solution is IoPlus, and that means that you do not need an application. It's simply as long as you've got a sort of a smartphone that has a camera, and the camera is able to read a QR code, then you can use IoPlus. But in principle, our application is targeted towards organizations. Individuals, they don't have to report their cases. They don't have to. There are no laws right now to mandate you to report your use case as an individual. Even though you may contract COVID, but there's no law right now that's saying you must go into the application so that you can actually set that status to on. Experience says that the federal app has worked, which is fantastic. But again, there is no mandate. There are no laws that are forcing individuals to actually go in and even have the app or report it. And that's why our approach is what we want to say a little bit more orthogonal, right? It's not parallel, it's more orthogonal, because we intersect with the use case in many ways. However, we're dedicated towards business. So hence our application is organizational-centric. It's appless, which means there's no app on your phone, and that's great because it won't consume any battery, right? And the other thing is that from a privacy perspective, there is no risk that you're being tracked wherever you go, because there is no app on your phone that even could potentially pick up your location. It's simply and we will show you today is a QR code that you scan, and then that allows you to log into the app. Right? So it's open source. All the code is released for public knowledge, and people are more or less, if you're on the WordPress platform, you are more than invited to take the plugin, run it on your WordPress site, and you're good to go. You don't need us to kind of support you. It's already, and I want to highlight the importance of the WordPress platform is that it really shows that it was third-party validated. Now, we are not, either hijacking your data or abusing your data. Basically, the code is all open source, and you're able to understand what happens with it. It's all online. It's all available. This is for the IoPlus.org plugin. However, for the IoPlus.ca, that's a SaaS platform, which we are currently supporting, and we rely on funding from participant organizations on the .org network. So we will continue to support the IoPlus.ca, and our business model is that the login and the ability to register your application is free, whereas the customization, and that's where we have to create a discussion in terms of like, how do we customize IoPlus to work for your particular environment? But if you're using the bread and butter, the simple use case, which is somebody checking in and checking out, then that's a free service. The main advantage also of IoPlus and which organizations want is that it's really it provides you with analytics. You can understand your traffic, and we're going to talk a bit more about the features in the next slides. All right. So what is IoPlus capable of? So from a client perspective, it's basically contactless sign-in. You do not need to write your name or your phone number and disclose it to the public, neither on a sheet of paper nor in a iPad that is furnished by the business. You're simply signing in on your phone, right? And the data is there's only enough data that's captured about you so we can contact you, or the business can contact you, and that is the client notification feature. Okay. And obviously, what's very important and key in our approach is that data privacy is protected. Your data is not shared. We will not sell or neither in raw format or in aggregate format. We will not sell your data. The data belongs to you, and you are able to either conduct an audit or even request that you see what data we capture about you, because we are compliant with federal legislation, and in effect, we're also compliant with the US and the EU laws as in the GDPR case. So that's what IoPlus, from a sort of a customer-centric perspective, what it's capable of. However, when it comes to organizations, as a company, whether you have 3 employees or 100 employees or even 10,000 employees, one key requirement in Ontario or in Canada and across many places in Europe is you've got to do employee screening. Now, for those who don't know what employee screening is the ability or the need by by public health in your jurisdiction to ask you to ask your employees to respond to certain questions, right? So, for example, have you had fever today? Have you traveled? Are you COVID positive and whatnot? So that's a key feature that is a requirement in Ontario and in Canada, right? Also, I think in some places in the US, it's also either a sort of an employer requirement or a public health requirement in Europe and elsewhere in Asia. So employee screening is a key feature. Right now, a lot of it is either using Google Forms or it's manual. Sometimes, if you ever visited a sort of a dealership, a lot of what I've seen is that, people are being asked to actually fill in a piece of paper and respond to whether they've had any symptoms. So that's a key feature of the IoPlus platform that we already provide out of the box. Also, very importantly, is that the application supports enterprise sign-in, and what that really means is that if you've got employees signing into your business, you can also include the ability to do single sign-on, and that will enable them to simply check into your company, and then hence that they're physically at the door. So that means that your employee has signed in with with their phone, the 2D barcode, and then that jumps them into a single sign-on that ties into your application infrastructure and your corporation, and then you're ascertaining that 1, they were physically at the door, 2, they checked into the corporate node. And that's really key, especially if you're managing hundreds of employees in a sort of a large downtown office per se, right? So you want to be able to, so that allows you to actually understand who's on site. And that's a key feature. Again, this is not a requirement, well, to track the employees within the company, that is not a sort of public health requirement, but from a health and safety perspective, from an ability to track and manage perspective and capacity management, that's a key feature that IoPlus enables you. And of course, different organizations may have, Active Directory or Google access, and hence, we are able to work with your team so we can integrate it into your corporate platform. Capacity management, and again, for the sake of explanation, basically it allows you to understand not only how many of your employees are actually on site, but also who's visiting, clients, visitors. So you, at any point in time, you would want to understand as a business manager or owner, is that who was on site or who is on site on an hour-by-hour basis. So you're able to understand and report in case of an outbreak, and that's also important. It also enables restaurants who are already online to integrate that with their menu system, right? So IoPlus can integrate with your restaurant menu, and that helps you to, when somebody comes into your restaurant, whether they're dining in or dining out, they can check in, and the minute they check in, they've arrived, and then you understand what they can pick up, or if they need to order something, so then you don't have any needs for menus at all. So the paper menus that you used to, so then everything will be on the mobile phone, and hence your users, there's less interaction, less touch. There are less touch points with your staff, and that's really key. Okay. We talked also about customization earlier, and keep repeating that, is that, if you've got a specific need that you want to meet, then we're able to customize the tool for you. One key feature for larger corporations with multiple floors and hoteling approach to their seat booking, or even if it's not hoteling, it's just checking into their own desk. So IoPlus also allows you to allow somebody to check into a seat so that you are able to track them later on. And last but not least is analytics, and that's analytics on who's on site, how many customers have you had at any point in time, which employees were available. It's almost like it's not really going to replace your scheduling management system, but if you don't have one, it can act as a sort of a decent sort of a scheduling manager, so you understand who from your staff was on site if something happened and who you want to notify in case that there's an issue. All right. So how does it work? Basically, employees or the public can sign in, right? So you simply have to, sort of post a 2D barcode, and you can put that on a piece of paper. You can put it on an iPad. It's totally up to you. It's completely, if you're a small street business, all you need to do is really print a piece of paper that has a 2D barcode on it, and it can be as small as a thumb or even as big as a sort of an A4. So it's up to you. Now, on the screen, we show that this particular store chose to take somebody's temperature, but that's completely up to you. The application does not require that. It's up to you to decide, what you want to add in terms of branding or what you want to add on that screen. But that's how a customer and employee interacts with your when they walk into your business. So once they've scanned in, and in fact, you can even try it on your own phone right now. You can simply scan this. You can simply scan the 2D barcode, and that allows you to check into a particular place. So once you've scanned in, it offers you to sign in with Google. You don't really have to, but if you wanted to sign in, and that way then the business knows who you are, right? That's really key. Right now, we've integrated with Google and Twitter. Obviously, we can integrate with Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever flavor of the day, or even iCloud. That's also on our roadmap. But the idea is that when somebody sort of walks into your business, then it's totally up to you. On the blue screen there, you can see what are the options in terms of like you either a menu or a shopping cart. That's completely customizable, so you can choose to plug in or put a link in there for your own ordering system, or or a pickup system, or whatever system you got. But basically, as soon as somebody logs in, then you've got an opportunity to insert your code in there, so they can interact with your business the way you want to interact with you. Really, truly, our role stops where we've signed them in, we know who they are, and that's it, right? So that's really key, okay, for the visitor experience. All right, so the following screens simply show you, using our ordering system, which you don't have to use, you have your own. But the idea is that you can log in and pick your favorite burger, check out, and then pay, and then off you go. Again, this is a restaurant use case. Not every single business has. So if it's a grocery store, or if it's a sort of even a hairdresser, you don't have to do this, but this is we're showing you the capabilities and the potential for integration. That's really key again. So to reiterate, basically a customer scans with their phone the 2D barcode, it prompts them to go to a web page. And when they get on that web page, it's up to them to sign in or not. If they sign in, they can, they get more features in that. They can potentially either order or pick up or indicate that their presence. If they don't want to sign in, then we know enough about them so that next time they come back to visit the page, then we can tell them if somebody has contracted COVID. Or if they sign in, they can also get a message saying that they in fact, were at the same time as somebody else who had COVID. And that's really key to the sort of notification, which we will get to in a few slides. All right, so we're 20 minutes in, I'm keeping a time check. Again, so we talked about our visitor experience. Now, we said, this is a system or a platform for organizations. So we've worked a lot on the experience of the organization. One thing I wanted to say is that, as you can see, a lot of the screens are actually designed for mobile phone. So you can use this whole system on the mobile. You don't really need a desktop, but it does work in both. So as you can see, all these screens are mobile friendly, and they're sort of responsive, so you can use it on any device. So again, if you're a small business, you don't even have a computer, you could use it from your mobile smartphone to manage your your network. So, okay, now the next part here, we'll be talking about organizational management, right? So, I mean, the first step in setting up IoPlus is to literally go to IoPlus.ca. Right there, you can see it on the screen. And then that will get you to a screen where you can sign in with Google. And right now, that's the limitations that it's the only or the main way we're allowing people to sign in. And it's because Google has almost every single business on and set up already. Or you can use Twitter to sign in and sign up for your business. The screen, again, is meant for registering a location. And a business can have multiple locations. That's really key. You can sign in once and create multiple locations, or you can sign in multiple times with different email addresses and create several locations. We don't have a limit on how many businesses can you create. It's completely up to you. As long as you have unique sign-ins, you can create as many businesses as you want. Okay, so that can start from your mobile phone. You can even do it right now. Unfortunately, just for the sake of time, we will not be doing the training today, but in the future, there will be sessions where we're actually going to be walking you through as you go through this. So please bear with us. You can try it on your own. If you got any questions, please email us, and the email will be provided at the end of the session. Again, this is the session where you're signing up for your business. You've got two ways to sign up for your business. Either you can search for it simply using an address, right? And that will allow, it's powered by Google, so if Google can find it, we will find it. So you type in the address, and in this case, we've got an Oakville location, right? Or you can type your establishment name. So the establishment name is basically, if you're already on Google Maps and you've already got a Google local and you're registered there, you can search for your business and we will pull it up from there, okay? So again, that's really key, is that you can register based on location, or you can register based on business name. You cannot do both. You have to do one or the other. And that's really an important factor while you're signing in. Then once you've signed in, you will be, as you can see on the screen here on the left, you'll be presented with a sort of a list of locations that are matching. I mean, often enough, Google gets it to the sort of gets it right on the ball. But sometimes if there's multiple locations or sort of different variants of the addresses, you can choose the one that is best suited to you. And then all you got to do is enter a label. So you're calling it the coffee house. And again, of course, somebody's going to say, well, hey, the same address can have 10 different businesses. That's right. But that's why we've allowed users to add in a label for their business, right? They can register. And the minute you click register location, then you will get a 2D barcode, which you can use right away. It will be already enabled. And you can also email it. You can set your email to yourself. By default, because you're signed in with Google, you will get that sort of a 2D barcode through email. So you don't really have to take a picture of it. You could, but the idea is that on your phone, you will see the 2D barcode that you are able to use. And sorry, I think I'm hearing that some people are not seeing the slides, so I apologize about that. Let me just enable that. Okay. All right. And again, just for the sake of sort of a recap, and I know I apologize, I think some of you missed some of the slides, or maybe all of them. Basically, what we've shown is that, how a user scans in, you can scan your 2D barcode, right? And up to you what other process you want. You can either include a body temperature check or any other physical sort of, interview or a badge if you want, but that's completely up to you. You can even, give the person a badge if you want it. That's up to you. But also, I think what's really key here is that after you check in, any questions you want to ask the individual, you can direct them to the phone. They don't have to use your hardware. They're using your own phone, and hence you're minimizing the risk of exposure. So then after you check in, then you can sign in, and then you can see the menus, and you can click on those, right? And then, like I said earlier, if it's a restaurant, we have a sort of a minimal viable product that allows you to use it for an ordering system. But most restaurants have their own, so this would be simply redirecting to the restaurant's own menu or own ordering system. We're not in the business of ordering management or restaurant management, we do work with companies that manage orders, and that's why we did create something like this for smaller places who don't really have a system and they want to use something. Also, we've shown how you can register your business, how you can sign in with Google, simply search for the location, and also or establish a name. You get the 2D barcode, and then off you go. Okay. Now, one key thing is that a company isn't just run by the manager. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of employees, especially for small businesses or even larger corporations. You do want to pre-register your employees because ideally that's what you want the system for. You want people who are checking in to be recognized when they walk in, right? You don't want to ask your employee every single day to identify themselves because they checked in, because they've already have single sign-on or even a Gmail account. Or, if you don't have a corporate network, you could be a hairdresser store and every employee has an email, and then that's how they log in every single day. So that's why it's important to invite your employees so that they can get registered. The second screen on the right is showing you the occupancy. And I think, as you know, different jurisdictions have different rules about different rules about the capacity. I think in some places, some of the jurisdictions say it's 20% or 30%, and that means that if you have a capacity for 100 clients, then you can only have 50% of that, and that's equal to 50 people, including your staff. So occupancy and as a sort of a metric or a public health requirement is mandated. We don't control it. It's up to you to decide what is it that you want to set the occupancy rate. But like we said earlier, this is something that is set by the jurisdiction often. Canada, we know that there are some limits on the numbers. So sometimes it's a specific number, like 25 people, or a percent, right? So you can set that over here. And that's really key for you being able to manage your company. Hence, congratulations, you were able to sign up. And what you will do, you will get an email with a picture captured from Google already about your business, set up your address, and then you will, in the email, you will receive a 2D barcode, which you can go ahead and print and post at your door. The minute you have that 2D barcode, then you're able to sort of sign. Your clients can just start checking in. There's nothing else that they need to do. When they check in, they'll recognize the place. It will say, this is the coffee house and where you're checking in, so that they recognize that this is the right place. And that's really a key feature about the employee in that. Okay, so we talked about printing your 2D barcode, right? So you're set up, then, well, how is this going to help you? Again, like we said, this is a business-centric solution. There's a lot of features that are dedicated to business. In this case, on the screen, I'm showing you the latest check-ins, and that's really people who are just signed in, who have, may have declared themselves either traveling or got risk symptoms, or somebody in the family is positive, right? Now, I mean, ideally, you want to sort of interject, and if somebody walks in and say, well, I've got a fever, then you may want to intervene or do something about it, but that's completely up to you, right? If it's a school versus a company or public, or any public organization, the protocol will be dependent on what you want. Our role is to simply to give you an indicator of what's happening, and that's why that screen is there. Okay. Then, in the bottom, it's showing you how many people who've got risk symptoms. And the risk, a fair question would be is, what are these risk symptoms? So as we said earlier, is that every jurisdiction has their own questionnaire about what they're answering, whether it's be it the travel or high temperature or loss of taste or any other of the COVID symptoms. So if somebody answers to yay on any of the questions that are in the questionnaire as they sign in, then as your employees sign in, or even your staff or clients, then the risk would be there. Also, we've provided a sort of maybe it's less of a risk indicators, or maybe more important if somebody is positive in the family, and then you want to know, and if somebody's traveling. So, this screen is kind of a sort of a breakdown of the kinds of symptoms that you're seeing, and so it enables you to see, who's walking in, and what symptoms or issues they have got. Obviously, the fact that you can see their names, you will know if they're employees or if they're clients, and that will help you sort of determine what Okay. I mean, this is not a drop. So when you use a real system, this drop-down menu allows you to see all your businesses. It's not enabled in the PowerPoint, but actually, if you use the online version, it will allow you to see all your business. So if you're managing 10 stores or all coffee shops, and you're able to see who's checked in remotely, you don't need to be there. You don't need to talk to anybody. You know your staff symptoms and your if you're a sort of corporation with visitors, then you're able to track from a remote place all of your locations that you researched, and that's a key. And that's a key feature. Okay, then in terms of capacity, then also, you know, like we said earlier, there are reports, and we can not only look at it from a sort of a day perspective, but you can actually zero in on a sort of an hour by hour breakdown. It's not shown in this screen, but you can drill into the day of, or the day before, and see who was there at the same point in time. Right? Again, remember that people, when they walk in, they check in with their scanner or the camera, right? And then when they check out, they can also check out. Or you can set a timer to say, you know what, after an hour, I mean, you don't expect somebody spending an hour, more than an hour in a sort of in any restaurant that is a pickup restaurant, right? So you can even set it 25 minutes, it's completely up to you. But the idea is that the system allows you to understand capacity for organizations where they have a lot of staff, multiple floors, many people that could be on site without actually having to, you know, check in neither through a card or any other system. Then you can use this system to understand who was on site for you. And hence, capacity reports are a key feature that we offer. Okay, so again, we can also look at employees. So here, as you can see on the screen on the left, you can see that, you know, this particular employee, obviously, you know, we're trying to show you that almost everybody's got risk symptoms. I mean, obviously, hopefully not. But the idea is that you would be able to see all your employees if you had risk symptoms and when and where they've had them on what site. So that's a sort of an important feature of the system. Well, you know, so this is where on this screen this is where we differ from the federal application, right? So with the federal application, the way it works is if somebody gets COVID, and if they choose to call public health, a specific number of Digital Health Canada, they will get a number keyed in their phone, and that will broadcast the message to all the people that they've seen and managed, right? But that's the federal application. The way this application or IoPlus works is that, you know, as you know, that every employee, they're obligated to tell their employer they've tested positive. That's a legal requirement. And also the employer is obligated to tell their staff and to their clients that if they know that their staff contracted COVID and they were on Wednesday, the 13th or 14th, then it's incumbent upon them to notify these people. And that's why they're taking your phone number when you walk into a restaurant or to Starbucks or to any other institution. So in our system, it's the business manager or owner that sets the COVID status about an individual. How will they know? Again, the individual will call their manager or their boss or the owner of the company, or even public health could call the manager if say the person, you know, God forbid they're not able to call their manager. The public health would reach out to you because they would have enough information from the family about where this person works, so they can notify their employer or their school or any other organization they're participating in. Right. So again, this is how the manager comes in. They select them. This is the person that they want to set the COVID status for, and they set it. Then after that, they can decide. Once it's set, then they will have minutes to decide. To send a notification. Because think about it this way: if this employee has been on site for 15 days and you get 100 clients per day, and this employee works 6-hour shifts per se, right? So you got 60 people, give or take, every day that may have interacted with this person. Say you're in a hair salon or in a sort of a furniture store, right? So, and this is your main salesperson. So when you set the COVID status, and all the people who checked in, they will get a notification. it won't say you've contacted COVID, but it will say, and that was just customizable, that, you were at the same time where an employee at this institution, at this location, has had COVID. We're letting you know so that you can, either if you want to get tested or understand that you were at the same time and place with a person who had COVID at the time being. Okay, so then obviously the question will be, how far do you go back? I mean, public health recommendation is 15 days. So, right, because within 15 days, somebody who's asymptomatic, will know, and if they tested positive, then you want to go back to 15 days. So the algorithm right now is set up to notify everybody that touched base or interacted with this person for the last 15 days. So, that brings me to the point, well, how do you know they interacted? And that's a really good question. We don't do proximity. We don't care about doing proximity. But again, at the same time, this is not a system of like you touched somebody. This is more you were in the presence of somebody who had COVID at an institution, and that's why we're letting you. Excuse me. And that's really key differentiator between us and the federal app and many other apps. Our application will serve the business in ensuring their compliance. But again, we are not a tracking solution. We are not this is not a public health tool. It's more of a corporate tool, and that's why this distinction is sort of key to understand in our system. Okay? And I know some of you may have questions, so we'll have some time at the end for questions. So thank you for bearing with me. I have a few more slides to go through it. Okay, so this is a screen that allows you to add or remove employees, invite them. And again, the reminder is that employee addition or removal is there because you may want to track your own employee schedule, whether you have a tracking system or not, or somebody no longer works there, you want to remove them, and that's why we've offered that capability. Okay, so and also you can set the schedule. So that setting the schedule is one thing, and it's different than from actually when they walk in, obviously. So this person could be working on a Wednesday, but they don't show up, then you will know. That's great because it's in the database, right? We will notify you, and that's important because as a sort of a large company who don't know who doesn't show up, right? Like in the regular workspace, you could be even, pre-COVID, some people could not even be there for half day or even full day. Nobody may notice, and even maybe their next door neighbor may notice, or in the cubicle, but their manager may not know because either they're away or on business or something. So it's very important to compare schedule of employment as it pertains to when actually people come in. There is a discrepancy, and this system will help you sort of bridge that discrepancy. Okay, we talked about employees. Great. So now their employee scans the 3D barcode, and then they are presented with what we're showing you is the Ontario questionnaire. I know in Alberta, so in Ontario it's called the screening questionnaire. In Alberta, it's called the wellness questionnaire. So this is a set of questions that you as a business can customize. IoPlus comes with an Ontario template, but if you would like to customize it to Alberta or anywhere else, we're happy to work with you to do that. The idea is that you've checked in as an employee, then you answer the questions yay, nay, until you're done, and then we submit it. Then the report will come to the manager, and then they will see that if you're answering yes to any of them, and so they can. So then, after you submitted your status, then these results will be populated, right? So, and as a quick rehash, basically, visitor or employee, they scan the 3D barcode. Once they do that, they are presented with whatever option they want. Our system will direct them to wherever you want your business services, be it a restaurant to order or a seat booking system that you already got. We have a sort of a very basic solution, right? We associate with that. Then we also allow you as a manager, to easily register your location or your business. Then, using Google, which I believe has the most pervasive database of all businesses in the world, you can set up your business, whether it's on Google local or not. You can, enter this, search for your business, register it, get the 2D barcode, add your employees, set your occupancy, and then you're off to the races. It really does not take more than 5 minutes to get your place set up, and it doesn't cost you anything. You can just simply sort of scan the 2D barcode or printed on the door, and off you go. Okay. Then once your business is set up, then this allows you to see who's checking in, if they've actually indicated that they have either the symptoms that are, and that means that they've answered yes to any of the sort of the questionnaires that you've presented to them or configured. You're able to see capacity reports, understand who's at the business at some point in time, and you're able to set their schedule, know if they checked in or not. And finally, where the key thing is, where you're able to set somebody's status to positive if they were positive, if you were aware either, if you were notified either by the employee themselves or by public health. All right, then facility to add or remove employees. Then again, we're showing you here how you can enter the survey, how actually your employees do it. You can even present it to the customers, completely up to you, right? The configuration, whether it's an employee base or a customer sort of survey, it's completely up to you depending on your jurisdiction. That's fully customizable, but we have it built into the system. The final slides here, simply, we're going to share these slides with you. Really, this was our first attempt, and in the future we're going to be doing more in-depth analysis and showing some more statistical stuff. But today is really kind of like our, sort of fresh cut and showing you what the features are. This stuff is available already on YouTube, so you can go and see how it works, or you can even try it for yourself. You don't need us. If you've got any questions, you can please email us, follow us on social media, and again, we appreciate you taking the time. And like I said, we're going to be doing more, but thank you for being here. And we've got, let's say 10 minutes or so. I take questions, and yes, I see a question about for larger organizations, is there capability to bulk upload employee list or location list? That's a great question. So we have an Active Directory integration component. So if you are the Active Directory manager, the minute you attach it to your corporate directory, then all of your employees, including the 100,000, doesn't matter. You're able to allow your employees to sign in, so you don't have to add them manually. So again, the question was, how do you support larger organizations? And you can do it very easily through our Active Directory integration, which will allow all of your employees, or even Google integration, if you're using Google services. So you're able to allow your employees to sign in at bulk. You don't need to manually enter all the names of the people. And the screen, I think, that you guys are referring to, were here. I think we've got a manual way of adding employees, but again, you could do it through Active Directory. Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. Thanks, Ross. All right. Any other questions about the tool?
Okay, no. Yep.
All right. Well, again, just to give you a sort of a reminder for those who have joined in late, sort of IoPlus.org is a not-for-profit organization. It's built the plugins for WordPress, and if you've got a WordPress platform and you want to use the application, you're more than welcome to take it, customize it, do whatever you want with it. And that's the .org part of the platform. But the .ca, which is a SaaS solution which we've sort of designed and built for businesses, it supports you. You can use the free version, which will give you sort of a lot of capabilities for if you're a street level sort of a business or even a small company. You can sort of get set up and off you go in 5 minutes. And then if you have more integration requirements, then we're able to work with you and help you deliver them. But this was our first sort of cut at presenting it to you. We're happy. I know we're going to have a small audience, but we will keep promoting this in the future. We will repeat it, but we will have more in-depth use cases. We will share with the attendees the links and the PowerPoints. And if you've got any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. And do follow us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from your feedback and if you're using it, how you're using it. We appreciate you being here. Okay, thank you so much, and looking forward to your questions. And for those who are on the live stream, there's no way we can interact. Thank you again. I'm very happy that a lot of you were able to join through the live stream on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you again, and have a great day. Thanks very much.